Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 125 of the All in Football Fantasy Premier League show and podcast. Happy New Year to you all. I am the self-proclaimed FPL guru, Alex Rex, and joining me today are my usual suspects of the Differential King, Barry Stokes, and the man of the people, the voice of the people. What are we
Voice
going
of the
for, Barry?
people.
With the
The
voice of the
voice of the
people,
people.
voice of the people, Scott Williams. Barry, where in the world are you today?
I'm at home. There wasn't enough action in car parks or lay-bys, so I tried to go home, and there's not enough action here either. So I'll just focus on FPL.
Well, for the next hour, mate, there'll be plenty of action on this podcast. I'm almost certain of that. Scott, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Not too bad. Yeah, a bit too cold for action outside there, Barry.
It really is freezing. Snow, loads of snow up here. Is there much snow down your way, Barry?
Bits. It started snowing earlier, but I don't know if it's still for now.
It's a
No.
Yeah, you're
bloody
not
night.
far from my brother, have you? And they've not had much. So
Good.
Yeah, it's a bloody nightmare up here, to be honest. But yes, which is why we're recording a little bit later today, because I had to pick the kids up early from nursery. But anyway, there's the whole of the what's everyone going on in everyone's lives. Don't forget to follow us, social media platforms, Audible Pod, Audible P, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Do not forget to subscribe to us on YouTube and also like the videos. And also, do not forget to click the little like button and the icon on Spotify or Amazon or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get them from. And then you'll get notified when we do a brand new podcast. Couple of great stats for you. And I want to say a really big thank you because 2024 was a great year for the All in Football Fantasy Premier League show and podcast. We had 1,200 downloads of our podcast in the last 6 months of the year. So that was really good. And considering we only had 4,500 since March 2021, you can see how that's increased. So thank you for everyone who's done that. Interestingly, shout out to our American listeners and our listeners in Singapore because 34.47% of the listeners on the podcast version of this are based in America for the last 6 months. So thanks for listening, guys.
or Guy.
26.2. Oh, Guy. Yeah, it's just Guy and his family, isn't it? So thanks, Guy's recommended us to everyone. So big shout out to Guy. Thanks. So thanks, Guy. 26.2% are in Singapore, and another 26% are in the UK and Ireland. So thanks to everyone else. It's up 40% year on year in terms of downloads. And then in terms of the YouTube channel, thanks to the 22 new subscribers from last year. Don't know what any of you are
Woo.
called, but thank you so much for subscribing and giving us the time of day. And now we are up 40% 69% year on year for watch time. 69% more. So thank you very much for that. And episode 120 was our most viewed, which was our forward-thinking one, 107 views. So yes, thank you ever so much to everyone who has who's viewed the podcast and listened to us over the past year in 2024. Right, we've had 4 weeks. 4 weeks you've had to wait, Scott.
I
4
know,
weeks.
right? I'd forgotten this happened.
Yeah, manager of the week for game week 17 out of 120 odd people in our league. Scott, congratulations. 105 points. A century. Something happened that week that made it go really. Did you have someone off the bench or something? What happened?
Yeah. Well, I had Smith Rowe came off the bench, didn't he? Oh no, Smith Rowe was injured, ill,
Yes.
and Morgan Rogers came off the
Rogers.
bench.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Rogers came off the bench. Great moment. And do you know what? Sometimes it's nice when those things work out for you. But 105 points is a cracking result anyway, as well. Centenary. Shout out to Christopher Barris, Game Week 18's Manager of the Week. 86 points. Bob Smith, 101 points, Game Week 19. Shout out to you, Bob. Well done. And the greatest name in the podcast league, that's for sure. This week's Manager of the Week with 95 points, Charles
Charles.
Takaveda. What a guy. Well done, Charles. 95 points. You used your wild card, first wild card, sorry, this week. And so did the person who came second in Manager of the Week. Can't remember who that was. Shout out again to Bob Smith, who was Manager of the Week in Game Week 19. He was the best manager in Game Week 20 as well, who didn't use a chip with 85 points. So shout out to you, Bob. And also we've got to do a shout out to our Manager of the Month for plenty of admin to start this podcast, by the way, boy. Shout out to Manager of the Month for December. And that's friend of the podcast and one of my good work colleagues, Gavin Webb with AJFC. 474 points. Absolutely killed it this month. Second, Barry's second team, the FPL Hardcores, 458. Second team. And shout out to David Byrne, 450, Matt Gillette, and then Callum Burnett, another friend of the podcast, fifth in December's Manager of the Month competition. But
we're going to keep going to 9.
Yeah, come on, at least in the top 10. Come on.
I wasn't going to either. Right, Kira Ball, Steve Cousins, shout out to Steve Cousins as well. Costa Papa Giannopoulos, Scott Williams in 9th, and Ben ST.
Well, Steers.
Just Saint Ben. We call him Saint Ben. Well done to you in
I had the points in the squad to get top 2 that month, but as much as I ran good that week, I also had some big points on my bench the other week. So bit more luck, and I got top 2. Well,
we can talk all about. So I've got a little bit of in this my season review to mention about bench points, but let's not. Well, I'll mention that in a second. But Gavin Webb, you joined Jack Howcroft, November's Manager of the Month, Scott Bell, October's Manager of the Month, Ahmad Fahim, September's Manager of the Month, and second shout out to Charles Takaveda, August Manager of the Month. So you joined that elite group of people. So yeah, thank you for being part of it and keeping playing. So lads, I want to have a quick look at the long view and talk a little bit about chip strategy, and also have a little bit of a look at when some of the blanks and doubles are going to fall. Barry, have you managed to have a look at any of this so far? I know Scott definitely hasn't, so there was no point asking him. Have you had a look at all your potential chip strategy? I've got a couple written down here that I'm going to run through, but
I briefly looked at it. I haven't proper worked it out because that was one of my New Year resolutions that we're going to touch upon. Is don't forward think too far, because that's what I was doing, and it cost me massively with a few of my picks, such as, like, for example, bringing in Strand Larson instead of Cunha. So yeah, I'm only going to go 3 games advance, hence why I'm doing the 3-week gamble and just going from there.
and that's what we thought. Sorry, my son's walked into the room, so yes, hi Ronan. I don't know what he's doing. He's playing some sort of game behind me. I'm getting attacked by my children.
We're playing
Yeah,
FPL.
I do agree with that point though. In terms of the not looking too far ahead is really important, especially when we things can change week to week in terms of form, managers, and whatever else. Yeah, I've had a good look at this, and on the screen right now is Ben Krellin, who doesn't know he's a friend of the podcast, but he is. Is a friend of mine, Fantasy Football Hub. Definitely worthwhile following him again on X if you do. He's given a little breakdown of where the blank's going to be in game week 29 and where potentially the double game week's going to fall for Liverpool. So if you have a look at game week 24, it could potentially fall there when the Everton game gets replayed, or game week 25. Now, my take on it was probably going to be game week 24, but Ben knows his stuff a lot better than I do, and he thinks it's more likely to be game week 25 because Liverpool will probably have a game in the 4th round of the FA Cup just before it, because they play Accrington Stanley in round 3. So he thinks that there'll be a game on Saturday or Sunday for them already, and they'll probably move the Everton game to game week 25. Now, that's contrary to some of the information that I've had, which is actually to do with the police, funnily enough. Don't ask me how I found this information out. But the police presence and everything else, they seem to be set up more for the game week 24 double. So triple captain Baz was going to ask you about in relation to this. Nailed on?
Nailed on. If it's definitely 25, you can't look away from Everton away and Wolves at home for Salah. So yeah, it'd be nailed on.
Yeah. It does feel that way, doesn't it? Scott, would you have any queries on that? Do you think it's just
No.
pretty
If
blatantly
you thought,
obvious?
yeah, if the couple of these is fixtures and the best player in the league, I mean, you're an absolute idiot and you should delete the game if you've got it and you don't use it.
The interesting impact that that has is if it is, for example, game week 25 is on your chip strategy moving forward with the brand new assistant manager chip. So you can see here from the graphics that's on screen, game week 29 and game week 34 are going to be the blanks. So game week 29 is because of the Carabao Cup final, and game week 34 is because of the FA Cup semi-finals. So those are going to be the blank game weeks. The two matches that don't happen in game week 29 will happen in game week 33, and the probably four matches, maybe three, whatever happens in case somebody's playing each other, because Villa play City, for an example, if they get through. But if the four matches don't happen in game week 34, they will then happen in game week 36. So they will be the doubles. So none of them are massive double game weeks by any stretch of the imagination. There's probably going to be two fixtures in 33 and four extra in 36. But that is where you're going to still be using your chips, because that's still where the advantage is. The assistant manager chip is active for 3 game weeks, and they have to be consecutive game weeks. So if you think you're going to be using a bench boost chip and a free hit chip and maybe a wildcard chip, all between game weeks 30 and 38, there isn't space to use your assistant manager chip. So you're going to have to be using it a little bit before then. You're going to have to be using it in the late 20s. So these are all things to take into consideration. We have to now start thinking ahead, because the assistant manager chip isn't just 1 week. It is 3 weeks. So now is the time. You could ignore it totally before now, because there was no point even remotely thinking about it. But now's the time you got to start factoring it in. So I think there's a couple of basic chip strategies here. You're looking at a triple captaining. If you've still got triple captain left, you're looking triple captain 25 is more than likely the week it's going to happen. There's 2 other options. You could probably use your assistant manager in 26 or your assistant manager in 31. And in game week 26, you're probably more than likely to play it on Fulham, who have Palace, Wolves, and Brighton to play. Or in game week 31, you're going to use it on a selection of different teams. It could be Liverpool, Arsenal, Spurs, Newcastle, Brighton, Bournemouth. Have all got a decent run of 3 fixtures that are all on the screen in front of you right now. If
Is it worth? Is it worth? Al, sorry. Is it worth just really quickly, just saying again what this chip is? Because I think a lot of people would have forgotten.
Barry, can you give a rundown of the assistant manager chip, if you don't mind? Because my daughter's screaming at the door again. One sec.
So basically, you have to use some of your transfer money to buy an assistant manager, and you have them for 3 game weeks. And then obviously you get I can't remember how many points you get for a win and a draw. And then obviously if they're so many points above you, you get so many points. You get double your points, I think. I don't really know it myself, to be honest, that often. I'm going to look into it when it actually comes into effect. But the gist of it is you have to use some of your transfer money, so you need to make sure that you've got money in the bank. And that's probably one of the key things to realize is you need money in the bank for buying these certain managers. So just bear that in mind. But Alex will
0.
probably sum up the
Yeah, 0.5, 1 million, or 1.5 is what the managers are going to be worth. And you also can't have, they also contribute towards the 3-player maximum per team. So, for example, if you have Arne Slot, you can't have Trent, Salah, and Diaz. So, for that week, you'll have to transfer out one of them to get Slot in, for an example. And yeah, they're 0.5 to 1.5 million. And the bonus thing is 10 points you get extra if you beat a team that's 5 ahead of you, which is why when I look at the chip strategy from my perspective, when I've already used the triple captain chip, I think Fulham in game week 25 looks like a really good opportunity to use the assistant manager chip. And I say that because if you have a look now in game week 25, they play Nottingham Forest at home. Now, I know Forest are in a really good run at this very moment in time, but they are 6 or 7 places above Fulham in the league. And I think Fulham at home against them seems like quite a good punt almost to try and get an extra 10 points. It feels like a good fixture to be able to try and do that. Then they've got Crystal Palace at home and then Wolves away. So there's 3 fixtures together that seem to work quite nicely as a good option to go ahead with. Also, if you do use a triple captain in game week 25, I still think Fulham in 26, Palace, Wolves, and Brighton aren't 3 bad fixtures again to use it. when I looked through all the fixtures, and I spent about an hour today looking through all of these fixtures, that felt like the three where you were most likely to be able to take advantage of an opportunity to get the 10 extra points. Otherwise, I feel like you're almost a bit too gambly, and you probably need to use this assistant manager chip on somebody who's going to be more consistent in terms of getting wins.
How much is
So
it for a win?
5 points, something like that. Can't remember off the top of my head. But I will check that. But Barry's going to do it right now. He's going to look at the rules. Can see it in his eyes. He's going to look at the rules and get those numbers down. But to go back a step in terms of chip strategy and to simplify it, I think if you've got your triple captain left, you do triple captain 25, you do free hit 34 and bench boost 36. And then you either wildcard in 30 or 32, an assistant manager in 26 or 31. That's what I think you should do if you have your triple captain left. If you don't have your triple captain left, you should assistant manager in 25, wildcard anytime between 30 and 33, free hit 34, bench boost 36. Or you wildcard 30, assistant manager 31, free hit 34, bench boost 36. So free hit 34, bench boost 36. That is where I see it being, because there's the most blanks in 34 and there's the most doubles in 36. And if you wildcard in 30, 31 or 32, you can set your team up because you'll know what doubles are going to happen in 32, 33, and you know what doubles are going to happen in 36. So you can set your team up for those doubles and ignore the big blank in 34. So that feels the best optimum at the moment.
So the scoring is 6 points for a win, 3 points for a draw, 10 points for a win, or 5 points for a draw against teams ranked 5 places up higher, 1 bonus point for every goal, and 2 points for every clean sheet. As you mentioned, the team's only limited for 3 players per team. Also, managers can be swapped during the 3-week period.
Yeah, they cost you an actual transfer.
Yeah.
That's the key thing. Whereas it doesn't cost you a transfer to do one.
That's a lot of thinking, isn't it? God.
This is why I've tried to simplify it now as best as I possibly can do, because I'll be honest, I think it's a terrible idea when I've looked into it a little bit more in terms of engaging the casual manager. I think it's
well, I was just going to say to you then, because of the serious lack of double game weeks this season, do you think they've gone crap? We know our hardcore players like to plan for the double game weeks. Let's throw this chip in there just to get them on side a bit more. But like you say, I think for me, who I would say is probably a bit more than a casual player, I don't like it. I don't like the fact that I've got to plan and think this much. So for actual really casual players, they're not going to like it.
No, well, I think what's going to happen is for the really casual players, and again, this is why I'm trying to discuss it now at the beginning of the year, because we need to start thinking about it as serious FPL managers, is that if you're, let's just say, for example, you wildcard in 31, you free hit in 34 and you bench boost in 36, you literally cannot fit in using the assistant manager chip in that end bit of the season, because there's not a 3-week, because it's 3 consecutive weeks, so it becomes more complicated. But I think from my perspective, the way I look at it is the other option you could do is try and target the Liverpool double game week and go for it game week. Was it? Let's have a look. It was game week 24 when it comes into action. Go for Bournemouth, Everton, Wolves. But then they do have Man City away at the end of it. And they seem to be getting back on track. So that's why I think Fulham's gives you the best chance of trying to get that extra 10 points or extra 5 points, because it depends on the variable.
I think this is going to be a lot of luck in it involved in this chip.
Yeah. What I'm going to focus on mine is the teams that avoid relegation. So what I'm looking at here is Leicester's last 3 fixtures: Forest, Ipswich, Bournemouth. I think that's going to be a shout for me.
So there's your thing. You can't use a chip in 36. So you're going to be bench boosting in 33, aren't you? Really, realistically, as a double game week, or you could bench boost in a single game week. And again, we discussed this at the very first podcast of the year. Bench boost when you've got a good bench. It doesn't matter if it's a double game week or a single game week, because the likelihood of you having double game week players on your bench this season is so much smaller than it has been in previous years.
Unless you obviously go crazy and wild card them players in to set it up, and then it just
but
knackers you up for the next couple of game weeks.
but that's why I'm saying I think wildcard between 30 and 32 to set yourself up for the doubles in 33 and 36 to be able to at least then bench boost in one of those is the way forward. And again, free hit in 34 because then you don't have to worry about those teams that are going to blank in 36. So that for me makes most sense. But yeah, I think if you look at your bench and you go, I've got 3 players on there out of 4 that I think I could start. I don't see any issue in if, let's say, for example, you're one of those players right now and you're really struggling and you're going to use your second wild card early. Well, then use your second wild card and bench boost in a single game week the week after. Like, set your team up to do that because then you can transfer out the couple of fringe players if you want to, like later on down the line. But that'd be what I'd do if I was someone who needed to wildcard in the next 2 weeks. I'd probably wildcard and then bench boost the week after, or at least the week after that. But yeah, I'm with you, Scott. I don't think the casual manager. I think there'll be a lot of casual managers that never use the assistant manager chip this year. And click on it and think, what have I done? Now I can't use another one. I'd be really, 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 really peeved because then they can't triple captain or wild card or do anything about it. So yes. Anyway, so that's the look in terms of the chip strategy. Interested to see what happens in the first legs of the Carabao Cup semi-finals this week. So that'll give us a good idea moving forward anyway of where we're going to be at. So in terms of who's going to blank in game week 29. Our season so far, Barry. You touched on New Year's resolutions. Any other New Year's resolutions that you had? You're gonna, other than not looking too far ahead?
Be less crap. Can that be one?
But you're sticking with Haaland's just finally started working.
Well, yeah, but how long is that going to last?
So, who knows, considering their fixtures, and that's an interesting point. We'll touch on Haaland in a little bit more detail in a bit, but his fixtures moving forward are interesting. Scott, New Year's resolutions? You're doing well this year.
Yeah, and just keep enjoying it. Like when I get a bit more touches, when I do a bit better. So the last few weeks, I've been a bit more stressed about it. But no, just keep doing it. Probably again, it's something I've done very well this season of doing, but I still do it a bit like home and away. I'd get sucked into it a little bit. I need to just remember actually they're just a good team. Doesn't matter if they're playing home or away. And then the FDR as well. So the fixture difficulty rating. Again, I've just been kind of glancing at it now because I've not prepared for our 3 week punt later. And I've like just glanced at it and gone, oh, they've got quite tough fixtures. But then when I've looked into it, one of the fixtures for Arsenal is Spurs at home. Well, actually, from an attacking fixture, that's not a bad fixture at all. So it's just keeping that in the back of my mind going forward. And one thing I've done really well this season is not take many minuses. I think I've had 1 game week where I've took a minus, and that's really helped me as well.
Did you not find that the banking transfers situation has helped with that massively?
Oh yeah,
I didn't appreciate the impact that was going to have on the way I play FPL. I really did. I thought we're still going to just make the same sort of transfers, and if I happen to bank one extra one once, and it's fine. It's changed how I play it a lot. I think I've only taken 1 hit this year, if not 2, maybe. But that's it. And Barry knows that I'm the FPL taking hits guru. And I'm never afraid of doing it. I don't do it loads, to be fair, but I'm never afraid of taking a hit. But yeah, it's really changed the way I play. Have you found the same, Baz? Or you weren't a hit guy anyway, really, were you? You tried to avoid
No, I
the
wasn't, but I was kind of playing it like I needed to make a transfer because that's how I set my team up. Because I was looking in so many weeks advance, I was like going, right, well, that transfer I'm going to use it for that person, that transfer I'm going to use for that person. So it's very rare that I had 3, 4, or 5 transfers. They were like mystical creatures to me. I think most I had was 2. So yeah, it was one of them where I'm thinking actually, if I don't plan further ahead, then I might get like a mini wild card and have 5 transfers maybe. So yeah, that's something that I might look into as well on that
Yeah,
front.
I've never got to 5. I've got to 3 a couple of times, and I've got to 4 as well once. The AI team's got to 4 a couple of times because it does the next 3 game weeks predictions, and that's been quite handy as well. And my New Year's resolution has been stop picking the wrong captain. For the love of God, there's been 13 game weeks out of 20 where I've picked the wrong captain within my own team, like the players that I have in my team. And it's been mad. And the points I've lost, and I did this, and please, no one else do this because it's really quite depressing. I've lost 125 points from picking the wrong captain within my own team this year. Like,
And also you got to throw in the equation the wrong choice of goalkeeper as well. How many points that cost you?
oh God, yeah, I've not even put that into this. I think that was another 20 odd points. I think 30 points. And it's been 11, 11, 3, 7, 12, 10, 9, 12, 11, 16, 8, 12, and 3. Like, it's not just not cost me, it's cost me and kicked me plumbing the crown jewels. So that's been my big thing. And the other thing as well is 8 out of 20 weeks, I've picked the wrong player to bench rather than start. And it's just, I know there's a little bit more
It's
luck
little.
in that. But there's been a couple of times when I've looked at it and it's been 10, 8, 12, 6, 10, 7, 5, and 7. If I'd have got all of those right, lads, if I'd have got all of those right, I'd be 413th in the world. And so that's the luck
Well,
there as
that's
well.
why the guy is 413th in the world right now. He has got everything boxed right.
Exactly. And that's and it's not possible for 99% of the population to have that run good. But still, it shows that the transfers I've been making in terms of the players bringing in generally have been pretty spot on. I've not had the wrong players in my team. It's been actually the players that I've been picking in terms of benching and captain's the thing. Captain for me, awful. So I need to really improve on that. And I did the same last season. Terrible first half and a good second half. But yeah, so that's my 2 points. 2 points to me. Let's have a look at the form over the festive season, lads. Here it is. Here are the best teams over the last 6 fixtures. Newcastle, right at the top, 6 wins in a row. Nottingham Forest, 6 wins. All right, 6 wins in a row for Forest as well. Cracky.
Yeah, and
Wow.
4 of them were clean sheets in a row.
That's crazy, isn't
They
it?
didn't even
6 in a
manage
row.
that in the championship
Yeah,
promotion.
exactly.
Bonkers, isn't it? Liverpool, so 5 wins in a row. Forest, not 6. 5 wins in a row. It might be. It's 6 though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because of the other one. But anyway, it's 5 wins in a row in here. Sorry. Liverpool, a draw, 3 wins and a draw. Arsenal, exactly the same. Bournemouth also undefeated. I mean, that's phenomenal, isn't it? Forest and Bournemouth, in particular, find themselves up there.
And City down in 7th.
City down in 7th. Fulham there in 8th. Crystal Palace turning it round in 6th. Not doing too bad at all up there. Fulham and Wolves under the new manager. Seemed to, I mean, I know they lost last night, but the 3 results that they had, first 3 results under him, 2 wins and a draw. Yeah, there were 2 wins and a draw under him. Not too bad at all. And they only lost to a Forest team who were playing unbelievably. The other thing to shout here, I think, as well,
could have
is
been totally different though, couldn't it? If Strand Larson scored his 2.
don't talk about Strand Larson, Barry. Get really upset, won't you?
I've transferred him out, so I've got Mateta in now, haven't I?
You still love him. Well, Mateta's the man, mate. I think that's something we'll definitely talk a little bit more about in a bit. Ipswich in 11th. I think some of the crazy ones down here: Chelsea 12th, Spurs 14th, and Man United 17th. Brighton and Brentford as well, 15th, 16th as well. Is pretty poor.
Mm.
Anyone really impressed you over the festive period, Scott, in terms of teams here? And any shout outs and players in particular you
Yeah,
want to refer to?
yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm just going to go for the teams at the top of this list, really. But the way they've played the last few weeks is Newcastle. Like, it's good to see as well because the last couple of seasons they had played really good football. And they obviously had the really good. Well, they had a really exciting run in the Champions League where they had the group of death. There were minutes that I think they were like a really dodgy penalty decision away from actually going through. They didn't finish bottom. That kind of cut the season a little bit. This season's been a bit on and off. Yeah, they've obviously had a good run to the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup, the playoffs till tonight, and they've just got the mojo back. It seems Isaac had a slow start to the season. There was talk about him leaving, but now he started hitting the ground running. Bruno Guimaraes is playing really, really well. Jacob Murphy, he's had a brilliant spell last 5, 6 games as well. He's looking really, he's like a different player off that right hand side. Gordon's just chipping away doing his thing, and Lewis Hall at left back is always looking like an assist as well. So Newcastle have been the one that I've been really really impressed by, and I'm really happy about it as well because I'm a big Eddie Howe fan, and I feel a bit sorry for the Newcastle fans because Man City fans a few years ago got this billionaire owner and were allowed to just spend loads of money and win the league. Unfortunately, when Newcastle got their billionaire owner, financial fair play is a thing, so they can't go out and just buy who anyone they want. So it's really good to see. Forest have been amazing. We're going to touch on it later, but I didn't think they did this well. It's safe to say. They've really impressed me as well. And a couple of just shout outs like Bournemouth, just having a great season, playing really good football. I remember, was it last season when he came in? And I remember speaking on his podcast because there was rumours about him going, but they were playing really good football and they were getting so unlucky. I was like, just keep the manager, keep the manager, keep the manager. Finally, a club kept the manager, and now look at him. They're challenging for York, playing good stuff. They lost the best player in the summer. I think people forget as well. They lost Solanke, and they're still just doing fantastic as well. So they're the ones who I would say. And the team that's been disappointing last few game weeks has been Brentford, but my God, did they put a performance on the weekend?
It's been interesting about so to touch on Brentford, their fixtures moving forward are Man City at home, Liverpool at home, Palace away, and then Spurs at home. So not the greatest moving forward. And basically everyone who didn't have Mbumo was never going to bring him in and just basically sat there like and just went, please don't batter Southampton. Please don't batter Southampton, because then I get away with it. No, 19 points. Absolutely destroyed them. And all I was doing was sitting there going, can we get away with this week? Because I think, again, a lot of people will potentially look at Brink taking him out or just riding through with him, but no one's going to be transferring him in this week, realistically. Newcastle, the fixtures moving forward, 3 home games in the next 4 against Wolves, Bournemouth, and Fulham. Their away game is Southampton. So if you haven't got Isak, I don't know if anyone has not got Isak at all. There might be someone on this podcast who doesn't own him. Then 39.6 goals over the last 4 games on absolute flames. You've got to be looking at bringing him in. Unfortunately, I went for Luis Diaz over Anthony Gordon as my. That was literally the flip that I had. I wish I'd gone for Gordon, but never mind. 29 points, and then I would have had him for this. But yeah, I think you need to be looking at investing in that Newcastle attack and getting a bit more points. And people are so scared of Jacob Murphy. Maybe it's his price tag. You know, people do this sometimes. They go, it's 5.1. He can't be. No, he's starting every game. And he's been returning. He's returned 2 points less than Anthony Gordon. So, again, it's probably quite an easy transfer for you to be able to get in for those 4 fixtures. Baz, any shout outs for you in particular in terms of the form table? Any players or teams you wanted to talk about in a little bit more depth or detail?
Mine, obviously, Scott's talked about most of them, like Newcastle, obviously flying. They've got a great balance in the squad. Botman's back as well now, so they can be even more solid at the back. But Bournemouth as well, obviously doing really well. Evan Nielsen's injured now; he's got a broken foot. But I'm going to be looking at Palace and Fulham. Obviously, yes, Fulham's obviously drawn a lot of games, but obviously they've started my boy now, Harry Wilson, who's had a massive impact from the bench, and now he's impacting actually from the start. So, and Raul Jimenez as well is good option. It's 5.7 million as well, so a cheap striker. Then obviously Palace side, Eze's back fit, firing, looking back to his best. Mateta's obviously scored against Chelsea. Ishmael Sarr's gone off the ball, but we know what he can do. So yes, and obviously Munoz has got very high XG. So there's a lot of them look you've got to potentially be looking at, especially with obviously the fixture swings for Fulham and Palace, because they are pretty good going forward as well as not as well as Newcastle's fixtures going forward, but they are good fixtures and most of them are around that budget mark where you can actually go, let's get rid of João Pedro after the Ipswich game and get a Raul Jimenez maybe. So there's a potential transfer that I'll be doing probably next game week. So yeah,
I think because you've got Mateta, haven't you? See, that's the
yes,
thing. So, because I think my João Pedro to Mateta might be something I'd look at. Mateta's quite expensive compared to João Pedro, though, which is the issue, maybe the only issue. But Fulham's got West Ham away and Leicester away next two. So, two away games, but two good games. And they've got Man U at home, which you never know what you're going to get still, before they have Newcastle away and Forest at home, which aren't the easiest two games. But still, assistant managership maybe before they have Crystal Palace at home and Wolves away and Brighton away. So they've got a bit of a mixed bag, but good fixtures. But good fixtures still, I would say on the whole. Palace, Leicester away, and West Ham away. So they've got the same fixtures as Fulham, but just the other way around as the next two. But then they've got Brentford at home, Man United away, and Everton at home. The ones after. So I think they've got pretty good fixtures there, Crystal Palace. So that's a team there you could be looking at moving on to, exactly like you say, Baz. Over the festive period as well. Another note, Raul Jimenez was on there and got a couple of goals. They played them and Muniz came on as well at the same time. So they did actually play them together, which is interesting. So it means that he doesn't have to come off every time Muniz comes on. It shows that when Silva wants a goal and needs a goal, he still really trusts Jimenez to stay on the pitch. And I thought there might be some more rotation in there, but no, fair play. I think he's definitely an option at 5.6. And then, we've got Crystal Palace, who also might have the options, quite a few options in defence who are cheap. But Eze is now down to 6.6. Started the season at 7 mil.
I think so, yeah.
Hmm?
I think so, yes.
Yeah, 7 mil. Chalobah, 4.4, I think it's good value. There in defence, and Sa, 5.9. So some really good options in there. Let's talk a little bit negatively. Leicester, not looking good at all down there. Southampton don't look like they're getting any better at all. But Scott, I wanted to just touch on you a bit more of a football point rather than an FPL point. But I've seen that Sean Dyche is potentially being considered with the new owners to be removed from his post. That's a strong rumour, which has been reported by Sky, which normally means that it's something that is actually being done. Huge mistake, or time for him to move on?
I'd usually say yes, it's Sean Dyche, but look, they're a disgusting team at the minute. Why would you even turn up and pay to watch Everton if you're an Everton fan? They've not scoring any goals whatsoever. They're not even coming close to scoring a goal. I don't think they had a shot on target at the weekend in their last game. They're not looking. I tell you what, if it weren't for Jordan Pickford, they would have probably could considered double the amount of goals. Every time I watch it, they're never on TV, by the way, Evan. And I can't remember the last time I watched them on TV, thankfully. But every time I watch them on Match of the Day, Pickford's making 7, 8, 9 saves. If it weren't for him, my days, all those draws would have been defeats. They'd already be in the relegation zone. So one thing's for sure, if they do go down, he's getting a Premier League club, put it that way. I think they could. I wouldn't be surprised if Sean Dyche left now. Let's be honest. Before they were solid at the back, they were nicking 1-0, 2-0 wins, the Dyche ball kind of way. Now, like I said, they're not even looking like they're going to score. They haven't. Have they got any money to bring anyone in? Striker is the hardest position to bring in. They've got Calvert-Lewin, who's, I don't know, I think he's just thinking about a modelling career now. I know they've got Brozier, who's come back from injury, who I think on his day can score a goal. But no, I think if they don't do anything, whether that be recruitment or manager, for me, they're going down because Ipswich look miles better than them. Miles better than them.
Yeah.
They've got a striker in Delap, who looks like one of the best proper old school strikers in the league. Wolves, like you say, bad defeat yesterday, but to the second and third best team in the league this season. So what can you say about that? Wolves, I think they'll be fine now. They've got the players anyway. They seem like they've got a decent manager there that can steer them away. So for me, it's probably out of Everton and Ipswich that's going to join Leicester and Southampton as things stand. And get rid of Dyche for me. I think there's enough, why wouldn't you look at someone like Potter to bring him in? If you've got a bit of money, why not throw a bit of money at Michael Carrick? Someone like that. I don't think they should go down the route that last point really quick. I don't think they should go down the route that Southampton have gone down and get a bit of an obscure foreign manager. I think they need to bring a manager in that's got Premier League experience to keep him up. But yeah, not surprised at all, and I wouldn't be surprised if he went. And that's the first time I've ever said that about Bash.
Yeah, it's interesting. I suppose the only thing kind of going for him in the last 5 games is he's drawn with Arsenal, he's drawn with Chelsea, he's drawn with Man City, he's lost to Forest, and he lost to Bournemouth. So and 1-0. So but I totally agree with you though. The Bournemouth game could have been 8-0. They were awful. Yeah, looking at these lot. It's interesting because I looking at FPL assets at this bottom end. There seems like there should be a lot more actually from like Brentford, Brighton. Brighton in particular have got quite good fixtures moving forward as well, and so have Man United. Scott, after the United game as well at the weekend, anyone for you there who you would think that you'd potentially invest in United? Looking at the fixtures moving forward.
I mean, the best player for Man United by quite a distance from me was Bruno Fernandes at the weekend, but he's just not consistent. I know people brought him in a few game weeks ago. He's not consistent enough, and he showed this season as well. He's got a red card in him, so I wouldn't be jumping on him right now. Man United have not showed anywhere near consistency over the last 2 or 3 years. So just because they had one good result away at Liverpool doesn't mean that they're not going to lose 1-0 to one of the worst Premier League teams ever in the weekend in Southampton.
It definitely could happen. It's next Thursday night is the game, and yeah, because
Yeah.
the deadline's on the Tuesday because it's the TNT midweek job, and yeah,
But I like Ahmad.
Surprise.
Ahmad at 5.3, I think it's more of a punt. It's less of a gamble than splashing 8.3 on Bruno, isn't it? I don't mind that. Even if you just want to bring him in for that Southampton game, which I wouldn't blame people for doing.
Yeah, it's just such a good fixture, isn't it, as well? And it's a shame, really, at the moment because I'd want to talk a little bit more about Ipswich, but I just wouldn't be investing in them in these next fixtures. They've got this horrible run of 3, really. I mean, Brighton at home is not that horrible, but then City at home, Liverpool away. Then they've got this beautiful Southampton at home fixture, and then it's Villa away, Spurs at home, Man U away. They literally have 7 fixtures, and they've got 6 awful ones, near enough awful. Brighton at home's not awful, like I say, but and then they've got this wooden gem in the middle that you just can't transfer players in for one game. But from a draft perspective, just keep an eye on that because I think there's probably some good Leif Davis and Liam Delap and Amari Hutchinson. They're all decent options there for especially for draft picks for that game week. Right, Baz has gone, and I was just about to do Haaland. That was what I was going to finish with before we went on to the review of the differential draft and the 3-week punt. So, Scott, I'm going to have to come to you again on this one, even though Barry's held on.
I wondered why I was getting all the questions, by the way. I don't have all of us on screen, so I was like, God, I'm getting another question here. I was going to rest.
Yeah, I was. It's relentless when you're on now by yourself, mate. Haaland's scored in his last 2. Brentford away, Ipswich away, then Chelsea at home, Arsenal at home, Newcastle at home, Liverpool at home, Spurs away. Obviously, Haaland's a hold. That's not even a conversation. But do you look to try get him in these next 2 weeks? Now they've showed a bit of form.
I wouldn't right now. One thing I did like about Haaland was his finishes were really, really good. I like his one where he initially went to go round the keeper, realised he couldn't, so actually just gave him the old kitchen sink instead. I thought that was a fantastic. That's the Haaland finish we were getting at the start of the season, but that's when we were getting through balls from the midfield at the start of the season. So I wouldn't right now. I think price wise, Haaland for that price, you want him to be returning probably a couple of returns at least a game, whether that be a goal and assist, a couple of goals at least. By the way, when we say that, and he's just not got that in them at the moment. I think there's fixtures as well, and not the Brentford away, notoriously one of the hardest fixtures to have this season. A couple of other tricky away ones in there. So no, not for me. I'd be holding them like you say, just because there's no one really obvious to get him out for if you had Haaland anyway. It's not like an Ollie Watkins is firing or someone like that. So you would hold him, but Not for me right now. I wouldn't be looking again. I mean, he's just not doing enough.
No, and there's players in form, and I've got for podcast listeners, I've got the informed players on the screen right now, and attacker wise, Isak's miles ahead, but then it's Gakpo, Jesus, then it's Raul Jimenez, Solanke, Cunha, Wood, and Erling Haaland, and he's behind all of them still in the form table. And I think Gakpo is now he's one of those players that still gets overlooked a bit.
Yeah.
And he's somebody you could absolutely have in your team. He's definitely part of that best front line for Liverpool. There's no doubt about that, and he's looking great confidence, great form at the moment. Yeah, if you've got, I just think it's difficult to get him in a team normally. Jesus will be a rotation risk and is hot and cold, so I won't be worried about him too much. But then all of those other strikers on the screen, all four of them are way cheaper than Haaland, and they're all still performing to the same level as he is, if not better.
I would
So
just like to congratulate Chris Wood. It's the first time I've ever had you in fantasy football in the 7, 8 seasons I've done it, and you returned for me last night. So we're all ready to hate on you, but you didn't. So thank you, Christopher.
Baz, you're back.
Yeah,
We've just said probably don't bring Haaland in at this very moment in time still because you'd have to rip up your team. I personally think that if you are in a position of chasing and you only have to take a -4, probably do it. And take a little bit of a punt. But I wouldn't be taking -8 for the sake of 2 game weeks before he's got quite a tough run of fixtures. But he's obviously a hold. Um, you happy? Happy Haaland owner now?
yeah. I did say these 3 game weeks, I want at least 3 goals, but I think he only got two. But as Scott mentioned, I briefly heard whilst I was on the phone. He did take his goals really well. Savinio looks like he's made for him, putting them crosses in early, giving the ball early because that's what he thrives on, his pace and his movement in the box from when the balls come in from crosses. So for me, it's a hold, and like what I agree with. If you're chasing and you've got money in the bank, then yeah, try and get on Haaland because he's not that well owned, and yeah, he's 14.8 million now, so he's cheaper than what you'll get if he starts performing these 2 game weeks. It'll go back up in price, and that'll go. It's quite aggressive as well, so it'd be like 15.1 in 2, 3 weeks time. So yeah, so for me, I'm very happy keeping him. I'm chasing massively still. Just broke into the 2.9 million. So
Oh,
yeah, exactly. It's horrible me saying that, but yeah, I need to do something different. Need to pick up these good differentials and try and obviously get that way back because it can easily turn around. A couple of good green arrows and you can easily go up the rankings. So yeah, I'm gonna keep on him, even though Isaac is in incredible form and the fixtures are incredible. It's hard not to have him, but I could get rid of Palmer to get Isaac in, so that could potentially be an option. That's
Bournemouth at
what I
home,
might be
Wolves at home
banking.
next to for Chelsea. It's close
Yeah,
in it, but
exactly. It's one of them.
Isak's
I
got
don't
better
worry,
fixtures.
don't want to be getting rid of Salah, and obviously I want to keep Haaland. So, yeah, that is potentially on my radar to get rid of Palmer and potentially upgrade one of my strikers and get Isak in. So before I'm actually priced out because he's gone up like zero point 0.4 million in the space of like
Rapid
4
fire,
weeks.
mate.
So yeah,
Rapid fire. And I think the interesting thing as well from the graphic you've done here for informed players, Barry, just shows that how strong it is if you get onto a good defence with good clean sheets for a good run. I mean, look, the Lewis Hall at 8.4 has had a couple of good bits of bonus points to get an attacking return in there as well, and I know did as well. But that Milinkovic, Neco Williams haven't really had any attacking returns. I can't say his name. And then
who's in?
for Bournemouth, Hutchison for Bournemouth, and then Kirkes has had one attacking return in there as well, but Bournemouth, Palace, um, Forest, and Newcastle have just been keeping clean sheets, really, as well. And that's what makes the difference in terms of getting those defensive returns. Um, let's have a look at we review our 3 week punt that we had. Let's do that.
Yeah,
Let's have a look at this.
so you can celebrate for once.
I know. I love a celebration. I went for Gakpo for my 3 week punt for under 5, 23 points he returned. Curtis Jones for my under 1, 16 points he returns. That's great. Equal with Mr. Foden, Scott. 16 points in 3 weeks.
Yeah, don't feel like he got any points today. I know he scored at the weekend, and he scored a tap in, so that got him some points.
And Sa with 7, Jota with 8. Baz disappointed with that one.
Yeah, it was a bit of my two were a bit of gambles because Jota came back from injury, and obviously how Liverpool were playing, it was going to be he'll come off the bench and maybe get a goal for me like he did it once, and I thought, oh, we might start playing a bit more, and then obviously Grealish, he looked really good against Villa, and I thought, oh yeah, let's get him in, and unfortunately got injured, so yeah, and it just did turn into Luke Shaw and Reece James, didn't he? So yeah.
It's another England injury that's a player that should be way better than what they are, but just isn't performing, I suppose. Brings us on nicely to our 3 week punts that we're going to pick now. And I assume from the totals that you're going to go first, Baz, Scott second, and me third.
That's correct. Yeah.
Are we going to go that way? Are we going to do that way on all picks? Shall we? Um,
Yeah.
you,
Or are we going to pick both of our, like, go for both under fives and then under ones and then talk through them and then Scott does his Scott and go from there?
Well, I think if you let's do. Well, to be fair, you get to pick both of yours first anyway because you came
Yeah.
last on both of them. So yeah, just pick them and talk through them.
Yeah.
Why not? Which ones are you going for?
Okay. So for my under five, I'm going for Bruno Guimaraes. Newcastle's fixtures are just
It's
too
got
good.
so fuming. I thought he was just about to pick him. It's
These fixtures are too good to turn down. And obviously how he's been playing is more advanced as well because Tonali's sitting, him and Joe Linton is pushing a bit forward. And I think Bruno is the man to get some points more than hopefully more than Jota with 8. So yeah, so that's why I picked him. I did look at Joe Linton as well, but I thought Bruno gives you that more potential ceiling. There was obviously other potential players that you guys probably will pick.
yes.
One of them was a striker option, and I brought
Stop
in.
giving Scott clues here. I've got mine
He
prepped
didn't do
here.
he didn't do any research. I'm trying to help him.
I've got my tabs open here. Don't you worry about me.
All right, okay. What, your
Um,
ears or your tabs on your screen?
You what?
we there you go. I like
Uh,
Bruno's 8, 8, 2, 7, 7, 3, 3, and 6. So getting returns as well, which is good. That's
yeah. So obviously Bruno on that one, and the under one I'm going for, and you're not going to be shocked, is my boy Harry Wilson at
Wilson.
0.9%.
Always going for Wilson.
Yeah, as I touched on earlier, um, he's got an impact from the bench. So if he does come off the bench, he's going to potentially get an assist or a goal. And also he's starting now as well. So at 0.9%, I thought he's worth a punt. I was even going to attempt to bring him in actually my main team as well, but I opted for Murphy, and also potentially a Langer as well as an option as well. And all of them have performed. So obviously I've got the eye for the differential, hence why I'm the king. So yeah, so that's why I'm going for Wilson. Obviously he's performing really good, and obviously he's a Welsh wizard. So yeah, get him in.
Started 4 of the last 5, and got 6, 8, and 6. 2 goals and an assist in his last 3. Scott, you ready to pick yours?
Yeah. Fine, yeah. Joe Linton, for the reasons Baz has just said.
Yeah.
I think we all want in a Newcastle most informed team and really good fixtures, so why wouldn't we? And then for the um,
Under one.
yeah, I give you. Do you just want to say you go Mateta now for your under 5, Alex? Or are we going to
Yeah,
guess?
I am. Yeah, that was it. So my 3 I had written down were Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Linton, and Mateta.
There
Were
we go.
literally the 3, and I had Hoyland written down in brackets because I've got an obsession with him. So, but literally the 3 players I had written down were Mateta, Bruno, and Hoyland. For any evidence there, if anyone wants to try and zoom in on that at any point for a screenshot. So yeah,
And
Mateta for obvious reasons, fixtures, and he finally looks like he's starting to get that form back that he had back end of last season.
I
Um,
was quite fortunate that actually I lost because I get to pick because the under ones are hard.
yeah,
Yeah, I
the
mean
under ones are really hard.
yeah. I mean, I know what it is, and it's the team that's awful season. But no, I'm going to go for Somerville for West Ham. Decent fixtures, potentially getting a new manager coming in. I've heavily rumoured that there will be a decision made after the FA Cup tie. and the decision is heavily rumoured not to be the manager staying regardless. He will seems to be playing now. Obviously, Bowen's out of a broken foot. So yeah, gone for Somerville. It was close between him and Fulcrook. I just think he'll play him on. He's got, as Alex says, a higher seat.
Yeah, and that's been, I suppose that's one of the issues for me because my debate for my under ones was I was looking at Tonali because he's playing 90 minutes in every single game, but he just doesn't seem to be getting any attacking returns. He's been
He's
getting
playing
into
the
some
holder,
decent,
isn't he?
yeah, the hold. He's been getting into some decent positions, but he's not really been doing it. Uh, I really, really didn't want to go for two players from the same team, but I'm going to go for Trevor Chalobah. And at 0.9%, I know he's got a goal in him. I know obviously he's got two goals in his last four, two goals in his last three starts. The fixtures Leicester, West Ham, and Brentford. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not expecting any clean sheets against Brentford at home, but the next two against Leicester and West Ham seem like really good fixtures. So yeah, look, I'm not going to tell anyone right now to whack Trevor Chalobah in your team, and throw the kitchen sink at your 4.4. But at the same time, if you are looking at a punt and a squad player and someone maybe even in draft as well, he's a good pick to have. But yeah, Chalobah for me. That's exciting. Good. Let's break up the differential chat because we'll come back and finish off by doing our differential draft and looking at the captains and deadlines. I wanted to have a look back at our predictions at the beginning of the year and just have a quick recap on this good fun selection of picks that we had. Let's start off by poking fun at me. I thought Man United might come fourth. I hoped it was a hope rather than anything else. But yeah, I can't imagine that being a thing. I think the outlying thing for you, Baz, is West Ham there in seventh. Obviously, Man United in fifth, but West Ham in seventh. Have they been a disappointment for you this year?
Yeah, they have. I went a bit rogue with that one because I thought they did okay in the transfer window, but Lopetegui hasn't got them gelled right. There's only Bowen that's really been doing well. So yeah, so it's one of them where I'm hoping that it turns around when Potter comes in, potentially. Obviously, he's lined up for the job. If he takes it, that is. So yeah, so it's still wishful thinking because I think that seventh spot's anyone's really at the moment. It's
Yeah,
quite close around that probably from fifth all the way down to like 14th or something like that. It's quite congested. So yeah. So for me, I think hopefully they can turn it around and get there, but I'm not that disappointed. It's a rogue shout for me. And like I
you
did with
you
the Villa one,
you didn't have
it wasn't
Chelsea
as
anywhere
good
near
as
it.
that.
You also didn't have Chelsea anywhere near it.
Yeah. I
Um,
just thought I put Maresca to be sacked, didn't I, in the sack race. So I didn't think Chelsea would be this good. So yeah, so that's one reason why I'm actually shocked on that front. But
I think that brings us really nicely to the sack race because me and you both had Maresca. Scott had Nuno. I mean, I think that was just more of a you hated Forest, isn't it?
yeah, he had Forest relegation as well. We skipped
Yeah.
over that one, didn't we?
Oh no, we're going back to it. Don't you worry.
All right.
Don't worry. Forest just. I'm going to touch on the relegation in a little bit more detail, but yeah, but Forest has got a massive, big surprise, aren't they? No one could have
Yeah,
predicted.
massive. I mean, I think people forget how poor he started the season as well.
Mm.
Apparently, like he was like 1 or 2 games away from getting. I'll be honest, I was 1 or 2 games away from being absolutely bang on. He was very close to getting sacked at the beginning of the season. So actually, I was nearly a genius. But again, shock horror that a club stuck with the manager and he's turned it around. Yeah, I'd really hated Forest at the start of the season. The antics last season and moaning and getting Clamberg in and all this crap really annoyed me. But do you know what? I've really enjoyed watching them and fair play to them. They're a team that's impressed me now. But yeah, that's it's not as stupid as it looks if you go back to the beginning of the season.
Well, a draw with Bournemouth, a scraping a win away, 1-0 at Southampton, a draw with Wolves. I mean, you say the big turning point, but it wasn't really a turning point, was beating Liverpool at Anfield.
Yeah.
But it's just the crazy, it was such an outlier result. It felt at the time. But then after they got past the first international break, which was the key, They've only lost 3 games in the last 13. And they are to Arsenal away, City away, and Newcastle at home. And they've won all the rest. I mean, what form team they are at the moment. I'm the only one who had Leicester to go down. I put them bottom because I thought they were going to get -10, but still, I still thought they were going to go down. And it feels that way. I've revised in terms of my predictions, so I'm going to go through my list first, and no one will be shocked to say that I think Liverpool are going to win the league. Um, I've got Arsenal as second. I think City will come back to third. Chelsea fourth. I've got Newcastle fifth. I think Forest will stick it out. I think they'll get Europe. They'll come sixth. And then I think Ruben Amorim's going to get us to get seventh.
No.
I've got to believe something.
I've got Man U as relegation of mine.
And then Ipswich 18th, Leicester 19th, and Southampton to get the lowest score ever in history in 20th. That's what I've got. Baz, have you done your predictions?
I have, yeah, near enough exactly the same. Top seven. Liverpool to win it. Arsenal second. City will come back fighting third. Chelsea fourth. I've gone for Forest fifth. Newcastle sixth, and I've gone Aston Villa for seventh.
That's the logical pick, Baz.
Yeah.
I went with my heart. Villa seventh is definitely the logical pick. Looking at their it's either them or maybe even Andrew. Scott, what do you think? I'm sorry, Baz. Sorry, the relegation. Cut you off.
Relegation is near enough exactly the same as what I thought. Apart from I've swapped Ipswich for Leicester because I think Ipswich has got a lot of fight in them and they look good with Delap up front. So I've saying Southampton, Wolves, and Leicester to go down.
Do you think it'll be obviously Southampton bottom? I assume you mean. And
Yeah,
then
100%. Yeah.
Wolves and Leicester, which way round?
I've gone for Leicester 19th, Wolves 18th.
And Scott, your revised predictions.
Yeah, just obviously doing that right now. So Liverpool to win it, Arsenal to come second. Boringness, isn't it? Just see third. I'm gonna go Newcastle fourth.
Oh, I like it. We've gone somewhere different.
Yeah,
Like it.
bloody voice of the people. That's why. And we'll go Chelsea fifth. And we will go Forest sixth.
Yeah,
and they look too good defensively. And I am gonna go. I really wanted to go Maverick here as well.
Bournemouth for fun.
Bournemouth seventh. Bournemouth seventh.
You see, I'd have put money on you'd have gone with Spurs because I know you like Ange. So I thought if you go
too far away. There's a lot of points away. That.
Yeah. Yeah. And relegation? Do you stick with Southampton and Ipswich?
Yes. So yeah, Southampton 20th. I'm going to go Leicester 19th, and I'm going to go Everton 18th.
Nice. I like that again. Well, I like the little curveball, something different in there as well. And yeah, just to look on the predictions that we made at the beginning of the season, I'm just going to.
Can we do the ones that we did a few weeks ago when me and you said that Liverpool would do it, and Baz was like, "No, I think Man City will still win the league."
We've still got that. We've got 20 to 1 now.
Oh, we're skipping over that. Okay.
Cashed out for a penny and then put it back on.
Yeah.
Top goal scorers, yeah, no shocks or surprises. I went Isak, you went Salah, and Scott went for Solanke. Obviously, we all went for Haaland, but we went for somebody different. I don't think any of those have been bad shouts or any have not. I think probably Solanke's a little bit underperforming compared to everybody maybe hoped in terms of numbers of goals, but I think his contribution to the team seems strong and putting other people in. So, yeah, not so bad on that one. Player of the season, mine's done his ACL and Scott's has never come back from the Euros.
Yeah, and Baz has won. So
Baz has won, yeah. Salah, so well done. So I had Rodri and Scott had Foden for podcast listeners. Best young player, I had boring Saka, but still right up there. Garnacho for Baz, still a chance. Might come back into it and copy menu for Scott. I don't think that's looking bad at all, really. I think he looks very, very good in the centre of midfield. Just young, needs his experience, doesn't he? Let's be honest. I went for Solanke for best signing. You went Smith Rowe, Baz, and Archie Gray. Scott.
You know what? Archie Gray has played every position but centre forward for that team. And do you know what? I think he's done bloody well for Spurs, is Archie Gray.
Proper utility, isn't he? He's really got played everywhere. Smith Rowe, Baz, in and out.
Yeah, he's been in and out. He goes through patches, doesn't he? He just needs to get that consistency. And obviously, I thought he found it going to Fulham because he started off really well, and then obviously then he had a bit of a down patch, and yeah, he's just a bit sporadic all over the place. But hopefully, he can get that form and get Fulham back to round eighth. I think they'll finish this season.
Not bad, just behind Man United. And I think it'd be interesting for us to do a little bit of a look at the January transfer window, maybe do a best signing off the back of there. But yeah, nothing too crazy off there. We all of us we got our sack race totally wrong. All of us did, and it's but there you go. It's
We do it
looking
now.
ever
Lopetegui's going to get sacked next.
well, Scott's gone for Dyche, even with Lopetegui. Pep's next. Yeah, got to go. What an absolute joke he is as a manager. So let's do captains for game week 21. So let's have a look at the fixtures and the deadlines for this one before we go back and finish off by doing our differential draft. Because that's for the keynotes at the end, isn't it? Really, let's be honest. Who want to actually listen to the end? So thank you, Guy, thank you, Judith, and a few of you others, of course. Barry will definitely shout you out soon, I'm sure. Game week 21 deadline, January the 14th, 6 o'clock. So do not forget Brentford, Man City, Chelsea, Bournemouth, West Ham, Fulham, and Forest, Liverpool on that day. Then on the Wednesday, Everton, Villa, Leicester Palace, Newcastle, Wolves, and Arsenal, Spurs, North London derby on a Wednesday night. That the police are really happy about sorting that one out in the middle of London. And Ipswich, Brighton, and then Man United are going to get beat at home by Southampton to 3-0.
Train long.
Yeah, why not? With a hat trick, 16 seconds, his first goal. So those are the fixtures. And this is the last midweek until game week 27, February the 25th. So we've got a few pretty much conventionals, a few Friday deadlines in there to pay attention to just in future, just to keep an eye on. But we'll go through that obviously on the podcast. Captains, lads, we're looking at Isak at home to Wolves.
I think
for us that don't
for
have
me,
it.
if you've somehow got Bruno Fernandes, I would actually go Bruno Fernandes just at how bad Southampton are. Man United should be riding high from the weekend. I would go Bruno if I've got him. If
Well, I'm
not,
mad. You're crazy.
a bit crazy, I think. But if not, I would be looking at my captain's currently on Isaac. It's crazy that would. I think Forest away is one of the few fixtures where I'm not slapping it on Salah. They just look too good at the back.
Agreed. Great clean sheet record. Was it 3 in the last 6? Something even more than that. 4 in the last 6. I mean, they've done so well. Yeah. I'm interested to hear where you're thinking of going, Baz. Are you looking at Palmer if you keep him?
Yeah, Palmer or Salah for me. I think I know obviously Forest how good they are in defensively, but Liverpool can on the day can like a warm knife through butter. So and it's Salah. Salah didn't play very well against Man U and still scored. So even though it was a penalty and Onana nearly saved it, but
And it was a bit of a mean penalty. It wasn't then though, but
yeah,
it was one of them.
Well, only because the lit was waving to someone in the crowd. Like, what are you
I don't know what he
doing?
was doing.
Dele Alli wave, wasn't
doing. He was like, "Hi, what are you doing?" Put your
it?
hands down anyway.
So yeah, so you could obviously if you have got Isaac, you can obviously he's going on it. Well, 100%, or a Man United player like you mentioned. But for me, who doesn't own any of them players apart from Mazraoui, um, you're looking at Salah Palmer.
Sorry, your team.
I know.
I don't own any of the good players apart from oh, second chance though in the Baz. Hey,
There
second
is, mate.
chance,
I might
please.
put on Nicola Williams and have done.
Second chance, league, I like that. Hey, he's good side. I think he can do all right for you, Baz. And good value, yeah. But I think that's where we're at with Isak. Right, let's do our differential draft. So results from game week 20. Of course, as soon as we come back and record a podcast, I have a bad week. I've had such a great Christmas, and now we're back, and I've got
You
16
didn't get the wooden
points.
spoon, yeah,
Uh,
because you picked treble Bournemouth, so that worked out in your favour.
he's the man, though, isn't he? Hudson at the back. Yeah, 16 points for me. Evan Nilsson, Utara, Iwobi, Hudson, and Ramsdale. I didn't even want. Scott, you Ortega'd. Unlucky, annoying, pointless loss of a clean sheet.
Yeah.
4-1. Zabarani was clean sheet. Jota, Gakpo, strong pick, of course. and Savinho or Savinho or whatever you want to
Finally,
call him.
picked him about 28 times and finally returned.
And Baz, you had a good week.
Yeah, everyone performing. I'm thinking, oh, Leno should be all right, even though I put Wolves away. It was Ipswich away. But yeah, I thought it's guaranteed. Well, it was actually Ipswich at home. But yeah, it's can't really grumble off it finish top. So yeah, I'll take that all day long.
32 points. Any other shout outs to make, Baz, from this week's differential draft?
Yeah, Chris won for the fans. Guy was close behind with one. Unfortunately for him, he had Kepa who didn't play. If he had Kepa playing, he would have obviously either tied or gone ahead. And Judith unfortunately got the wooden spoon by goals conceded. She conceded 10.
Oh,
Um,
sort it out, Judith.
so yeah.
And also sort it out, guy. How do you not know that Kepa has just had twins? Come on.
Come on.
Come on, guy. Come on. You should be way closer to the action. You should surely know exactly what the due date is for his partner. Um, he relies on us for that, Baz. We need to step up because
Oh,
we've
sorry.
not delivered.
I
We've
posted
not
in the
delivered there.
I posted in the FPL Affairs Facebook group. I'll post it in there.
Oh, don't give those guys the information. We need the information.
No, they've changed the group name now to get more traction. Yeah,
Oh,
good.
nice. Well,
Yeah.
hopefully it works out for them. I think that's always a good thing to do. And get the FPL in the title as we get told all the time in terms of tags. So it's me first, is it? Right. Bruno Fernandes, obviously, 8.8. Pretty easy picking my over 10 straight away in there.
Boylan's.
What a guy.
Uh, Eze.
Mateta. Loads of shocks in there, aren't
Yeah, I'm just gonna go for someone right rogue here. I think he's started his shooting out this week. Harry Maguire.
they? He's literally on my list, Scott.
He's on my list as well.
Literally on my list.
0.1 out of the way.
I like that. Maguire off there. Cool. You buzzing it?
Oh, Bruno Gomes.
Oh, I was going to go double Bruno. I was going to go double Bruno midfield, Baz. You've robbed me. How you just not picked Harry Wilson? I was like, Harry Wilson is definitely getting picked by Baz
Yeah,
here.
I was
Uh,
tempted, but
I thought it was absolutely nailed on. Um, I'm going to go Joe Linton then.
As a
Do you want to tell him or me?
who's picked Eze? I heard Mateta, not Eze.
I did Mateta, the other guy.
Eze was literally the one before.
Who did Eze?
Me, first pick.
Oh, did not hear that at all.
Can I Murphy?
Excuse me.
I'm gonna go to
If
start
anyone's
then.
listening on the podcast who really likes this, please watch that bit back on YouTube. It's Scott's reaction to that. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely fuming. That was class.
Who did you pick, Scott? Eze, was it?
Yeah, Levi called no. Sa.
Oh, let's get someone different today.
I'm going for Chalabar.
Chalabar was on again, of course, as you can imagine, very much on my list. I'm gonna go with the Bravka.
We'll go Jadon Sancho. Has he gone?
No.
No, it's
Oh,
not
there's a
gone.
lot of silence then. I
He's
thought
not.
he'd
He's
gone
not
again.
gone, mate. No, don't worry.
I'm going to go for Verbruggen.
Yeah, I like that.
Nice
I
2
like
points.
that. Yeah, solid 2 points.
Yeah, every time I've had him, it's 2 points. Such a
And I'm going to gamble on that Yoro's going to play at 0.2% as my under one. Scott, that was great dead air, by the way, for the pod.
Yeah,
yeah. How many people checked that the phone on died
That's still
there?
working.
I just got a text from my wife saying, "Are you ready for tea yet?"
Oh,
That's what I
this
read there.
I
Baz is
feel
still
like I
checking his
might have.
phone.
I feel like this person might have been said, and I'm not even trolling. Dubrovka.
Yeah.
I've said it, mate.
Oh,
Yeah,
wait, how many picks do you get?
just go for Leno and move
Ridiculous.
on. Like,
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
just,
shut up.
just
No, I'm not
put.
good enough. That's annoyed me. That might go Hermanson.
He's not even playing,
Injured.
is it? Bless him. Skavkovic is playing, though, isn't he?
Yeah,
Goalkeeper.
Ward looked good. Ward looked good, didn't
Yeah,
Yeah,
for a
for his
half a
legs.
time after. Did he play for
he?
half a game or something?
Yeah,
Yeah. Um,
yeah.
but
Leno then move.
yeah, they're the only three keepers you could have really had this week, wasn't it? Leno,
Yeah.
Dubravka, or the
I
Brugge.
could have gone on the over and gone to Onana.
Oh, maybe if you want to waste your over on a goalkeeper, yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah. Well, I've only got one left, and I've absolutely shot myself in the foot with strikers since Mateta and Hoyland's gone. I'm going to just go Delap,
Yeah, Delap's
3.1.
Delap's on there. I mean, all of my three under fives were Mateta, Delap, and Hoyland for strikers. The overs were obviously Jimenez and Visser. Um, the only players I'm surprised you didn't pick was Wilson there. Wilson and
Yeah, I had Bruno or Wilson as my flip, and then I was going to have either Shalabar or Shah as my defence. So, yeah.
yeah, it makes sense at Shah there as well. Absolutely devastated. I was going for a double Bruno midfield, and you went first. That was like a little dream I had for this game week. So Dubravka, Yoro, Joe Linton, Bruno Fernandez, and Mateta for me.
Verbruggen, Shalabar, Eze, Bruno Guimaraes, and Delap for me.
Um, is Muric? Is he just been dropped now?
You're still picking a keeper.
He has been dropped now, hasn't he?
Yeah,
You
cool.
remember
So
you...
I'm gonna go for Walton.
Go Walton instead of Leno.
Yeah, Walton, Maguire, Sancho, Sarr, Hoyland. That's the second week I've gone to under 1%.
I like them. I like those picks. And we'll wrap up by looking at our season so far differentials because Scott, you need a shout out here. We've had mine, Ben Brereton Diaz got dropped early doors. Full Krug for you under five's not really paid off. Carvalho's not done so well at 27. But three of our picks have. You've gone Doku 46 points, Jota at 52, and that's with a big injury in there as well. And Madueke under 1% has got 79 points so far this year. And now he's been dropped and is linked with Arsenal, Spurs. Who is he linked with? He's linked with some people, isn't he? Can't remember who he's linked with. But yeah, he's been dropped now, hasn't he? Who's he linked with? Do you know who he's linked with? No, I saw him.
Probably Arsenal was a schoolboy at Arsenal, wasn't it?
I think I think it was Arsenal he was linked with.
Good knowledge that pass.
Yeah, that's really good knowledge. Don't send that to the FPL affairs group. God. Anything I've forgotten, Baz? I think we've covered it off, haven't we?
Yeah, I think we've done really well. Compact.
Yeah. Yeah, we've done all right. Yeah, I think we've only run over an hour and 15 or maybe an hour and 20, so that's not too bad. And that's been that's some dead air in there. Me being attacked by my children, you taking a phone call. It's been a great podcast actually, and I'm so happy to be back.
Organised chaos, mate. And why would we have it any other different? Just like my
Absolutely.
FPL season.
Absolutely. Well, the guy who doesn't
Organized
even know.
crap, not organized chaos, mate.
Hey!
Jeez.
Why don't you just get Leno and have done with it?
The guy who is winning out of the three of us did no prep for any of that. And we're here slaving away, and he's the one that's delivering. But there you go. Right. Thanks for joining us, Scott.
You're welcome. Thank
Thanks
you.
for
It's
joining
been
us.
lovely.
Thanks for joining us, Barry.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, even though I'm so crap.
And do not forget to follow us on our social media platforms, All in Football Pod and All in Football P on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Also, don't forget to like the video on YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel and join our legions of followers. And do not forget to click the like on, and then you'll get your updates when the podcast goes live. Thank you ever so much for everyone for joining us last year. Let's go for a big year this year. Green arrows all round. And yeah, we'll speak to you next week. Bye for now.